Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape, vinyl tape,
carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham, and today, let me stop that. I always get excited when I bring guests to the platform, but today I am more excited than ever because we're going to continue in this vein, talking to successful entrepreneurs, but this entrepreneur has his partner in crime, his mate with him, brother Cheri Syphax. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Before you even introduce yourself, introduce your queen. Talk to me, brother.
Well, you know the rules, brother. You
yes,
know the
sir.
King's rules.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is absolutely right. Let me first introduce my wife, my lovely wife.
Yes.
Mrs. Cheri Syphax, for joining us.
Yes.
As you said, she's been my partner in crime. You know, we've been, going on 2 years now together and married for 1 year, and she just jumped right in. So I just really appreciate her and glad that she's willing to join us tonight.
Absolutely. Cheri, welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so just sit back quietly for a second. But as I said before, I want to just bring the audience up to speed with Tracey. And at any point you want to interject, by all means, we want to keep the conversation organic. All right?
You got it, bro.
Okay, so Tracey, let's start in the beginning. Who is Cheri Syphax? How did Cheri Syphax become this extreme, popular, and successful entrepreneur?
Wow, that's a lot, Kev. That's a lot.
Well, unpack it a little bit, buddy.
Let's just unpack it a little bit.
Yes, sir.
That, I say all the time, Kev, entrepreneurs, they have amazing stories.
Absolutely.
So it's always a journey to business and to entrepreneurs. And so my story is, like so many other unique stories out there, I actually got my start in another way, actually 17 years. In the streets of Trenton, New Jersey,
yes.
As a former drug dealer, drug user,
yes.
who had to sell drugs to support my habit.
Yes.
But one of the things I realized, as I had to support my habit was that I was an entrepreneur. I had to do entrepreneurial things
yes.
in order to succeed and in order to have the drug of my choice. So I knew about marketing. I knew about sales. I knew about customers. I knew about strategy, infrastructure. I knew all those things.
Yes.
But I just had the wrong product. So 17 years in the street, 7 of those years spent in some of the toughest prisons in New Jersey, taught me that hard lesson I needed to learn. I needed to change my product.
Yes.
So, which I did. So I came home in 1993 and lucked up and got a job as a roofer. And, I tell you, Kev, don't nobody aspire that I know.
Yeah.
Aspire to be a roofer, but it was an opportunity that was offered to me. And I took full advantage of it.
Yes.
I started out as a laborer. Worked my way up from laborer to mechanic to foreman to supervisor in 2.5 years and quit. Once I learned the business, I knew what I needed to know to go out there on my own. So I started my first company in 1995. I tell the story in front of the blocks of the boardroom. I attended the Million Man March in October 1995. And one of the things that Minister Fair said was that if you didn't have a charge, your job was to go back to your community. And if you didn't have a job, your charge was to go back to your community and create one.
Wow.
And even though I was working at the time, I understand what the message was about. It was about economic independence.
Yes, sir.
So I came back from that, and then within 3 to 4 months, I quit my job and went right in business. And within 7 years, I went from zero to over $1 million in 7 years, and then just sprung off just selling, started buying real estate in my same community that I grew up in. And, as you know, my office is located out in Martin Luther King Boulevard in Trenton, New Jersey. And, the same boulevard that I ran back in the day. And so just having the opportunity now to be a serial entrepreneur, one who has created a couple of businesses that, that's been my life journey. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I just had to get around some good folks that I could learn from and grow from. And I did that. And so now it's been this whole 29-year journey as an entrepreneur now, which has been great.
Let me just ask a question, because I'm just curious, right? And this is the power of prayer, and this is the power of God working on and sometimes on our behalf, right? When we don't even know it. You're out here. You're deep in the drug trade, right? At any point, did you think about my life could be gone? Did you think about that? Or to protect my turf, I may have to take somebody's life?
Yeah, absolutely. Or somebody take my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever shared that story with you, but I got a bullet lodged in my spine right now where I spent 3 weeks in a coma. I accidentally shot over a bad drug deal. So, I know how close I came to actually losing my life out there. And that's one of the things and the beauty about entrepreneurship is that you take risks out here now, but I get an opportunity to wake up the next morning, every morning in my own bed. With my own hands and feet and everything still in place.
Yes.
And even if I get it wrong, I get a chance to do it all over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you've got this successful business going on. The pandemic hits. What's happening now?
Wow. Pandemic hit, Kev. It's time to pivot.
Okay.
I tell people, listen, the way my life is built, I've built my life on being a crisis management expert.
Yes.
So I've learned to navigate through tough times. I tell people all the time, one of the most volatile situations to be thrown into that you've never been into is to be thrown into a prison system.
Okay.
But try to survive a market crash too in business. So, so, once again, Kev, having the experiences that I have had in my life, my lived experiences, have prepared me well, to be a successful entrepreneur. I know about risk, and I take risks every day. And over the 29 years, I took in a lot of risks. I've made some rewards, but I've lost a lot too. So, we chalk it all up, as you know, to the entrepreneurial game.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I want the listening audience to know is that you and I do have some history. You were the president of our board for the Minding Our Business program. So,
absolutely, the chairman of the board.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you had to look at your crystal ball, right? Would the Minding Our Business program, would that been able to reel you in and teach your entrepreneurial skills at that time had the program been present?
Well, when the program came around, it came around the same time that I just got in business.
Okay.
I went in business in 95. MOB came around in 97.
97, yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, right around the same time that I got connected with you guys, I was reeled in, Kev, and what really reeled me in is that when I got to Junior 3, our first class, we were at my old alma mater, Junior 3, out from middle school. So, having to go back there and teach and get in front of those kids was a life-changing experience for me. But, one of the things I recognized when I was there was that the business owners that we were bringing in didn't look like the kids.
Very true.
And I really wanted to make sure that our kids seen us. So, my whole charge was in the MOB program was to bring business owners, Black business owners that look like us into the school system so that our kids could see folks that look like them, that know that entrepreneurship is real in their community and they can attain it.
Absolutely. So we're going to fast forward again. So here we are in 2022. What are some of the projects that you're working on that are still entrepreneurially based?
Wow, so many things, Kev.
Take your time, though. Take your time. We got time.
So many things. So, we of course, our partnership with CJ and the Street Startup with the entrepreneurship course where we teach and inform the incarcerated people how to start and run businesses. We got another cohort that starts on February the 8th. So I'm always excited about teaching. One of the other things that we got going on is our Phax brand.
Okay.
Me and my wife now have been on this journey now for about 8-9 months now.
Okay.
We've created this whole brand around Phax that talks about dating in the pandemic, dating online.
Wow.
People talk about dating online. Sometimes some people think that's taboo.
Yes.
But what we learned, as we talked about earlier, through a pandemic, that was the only way she was going to meet anyone.
Yeah,
so
right.
Actually, absolutely. So, dating online was an experience for her. It was an experience for me. And,
yes.
And we found each other, and now we try to offer that same connection and that same opportunity for those single men and single women out there that are looking for love online.
Now, let me ask this question. While you're dating online, are you using FaceTime? Are you talking to text? How do you communicate that way? Because I don't talk too fast, so maybe that's why I'm not successful with dating online.
Well, listen, I'm gonna let my wife jump in right now. This might be a good opportunity for her to jump in.
Okay.
Because, me and her, it was an experience that we talk about often because, just having the ability to sit down and do those Zoom coffee chats and Zoom dinners and Zoom comedy shows. We did it all.
Wow.
For several months before we actually met in person. So
wow.
I'm gonna let her give you her take on dating online.
Yes. Welcome. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having us.
Not a problem.
Enjoying you guys' conversation. I never get tired of hearing Tracey's story. It's really an amazing one, and I feel honored to be by his side. So,
awesome.
Dating online was a very interesting experience for me. It was my first time dating online. I had never done that before. I think a lot of it had to do with the stigma that's associated with dating online. I think there's some people that feel like everyone's a killer who's online.
Yeah.
Or you have to be desperate, to be dating online. You had no other options.
Yes.
But the reality was I had a really great experience, partly because I just went into it just with a very light spirit of, let's just have fun and see how this works out. I knew I wanted permanence. I knew I wanted marriage, but I definitely didn't necessarily link it to I'm going to find my husband online per se. I was just open to the process. And so initially put up a great profile. You navigate and you meet people in the online world. So you're texting and sending messages via the app.
Yes.
And how I recommend doing it for a little while until you get comfortable.
Okay.
And then eventually for that guy or girl that you become attracted to or find that's interesting enough, then you take it off and you talk on the phone for a little while. And then in Tracey, in my case, shortly after that, Tracey was like, hey, I'd like to take you to breakfast. Can we have a breakfast FaceTime?
Wow.
And we did that before we started with, video dates. And we did that for, like you said, about 2 months until we met in person.
Okay.
So dating online was a great experience for both of us. And I share with women all the time who have some reticence about dating online. It's when you think about the pandemic and what it's done, definitely people and things have pivoted and the way you engage and meet with people has gone more virtual. And people are busy. And they have defaulted to all types of technology in order to engage and connect.
Very true.
And online is this one outlet that one can use, one option that one can leverage to enhance and round out that dating life. Now, you can meet people at the grocery store. You can meet people at the gym, at the, gas station. You can definitely meet people out in social settings still. But, between masks and, different things like that, there are some challenges.
Yeah.
So until go full bore back out with no variance, which I'm praying that soon, dating online is a great option. And based on my experience and obviously meeting Tracey, there's some really good quality, businessmen that are busy that may say it may be easier for me to do this versus being out and meeting people. And quite frankly, I think there's always going to be some people that are there for, not pure intentions, but that's with all kinds of dating, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I had relationships with people I met in real life. But what I will say for Tracey and I believe this, is that we met our real authentic selves. We could have put on that facade and we could have, sent that representative for a while, but something about being in your home, something about not wearing makeup, something about, really being your authentic self because you didn't have all of the, things. I couldn't go to the hair shop. I couldn't, he couldn't get his hair cut. We couldn't do those things.
Absolutely.
So we really brought our more transparent, authentic selves to the table online. And I think that you do that in that world. And I think that's why, stats show that I think people get married quicker online. I think those marriages last longer. And I think because for the most part, people have an intention of wanting to date seriously, and that's why they're taking the time to use that platform to do it.
Interesting. Let me ask this question, right? So you're looking at Tracey's profile. It says entrepreneur extraordinaire. What happened to you? Did you say I can handle an entrepreneur? What happened? What did you know about that?
Well, the interesting thing about Tracey, before I saw his profile, Tracey reached out to me, and first he saw my profile, so you may want to ask him what he thought.
I made the first move.
Okay. That's great. As the king should do so. I got you.
I believe that men are to pursue, and women are to be pursued. Yes. But that being said, obviously Tracey is a rather dapper dresser. He has a smile that lights up the Trenton Bridge, and he would just welcome me to the East Coast. I noted on my that I was from California originally, and I've been in Philadelphia. He definitely welcomed me to the city of brotherly love, even though he was 40 minutes away. And, there was just there was a charm in the way, I when I coach women, I talk to them about the energy they bring to the dating process. Yes. And there was definitely a light charm that I sensed from him that felt safe, and it felt like I wanted to engage with him. And I really felt, and so interesting, maybe after the first couple of times we talked, I was like, I don't really care where this goes. This is just a great guy that I want to keep and stay in touch with. I really felt that.
Gotcha.
And so, I caution people, just be your authentic self. And if you have evolved and done work to, in our age, heal from past relationships and hurt and things that we've experienced, and then you're really ready to get out there, then that aura and that energy can come through even through like a flat words and just pictures, perfect, platform.
Yes. Interesting. So, but again, so you hear that and you see that he's an entrepreneur. What's going on in your mind? You're saying, how do I support this entrepreneur? I'm not interested in supporting an entrepreneur. When did that level of connectivity come together for you guys?
I didn't think of that at all. One of the things that Tracey talks about on his profile was that he taught students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was so curious about him teaching students entrepreneurship. I asked him several questions about what inspired him to get into that work. So obviously that engaged around him being formerly incarcerated and being an activist for formerly incarcerated people and teaching them. So that, my mother's a Black Panther. I grew up in Oakland. So that really resonated with my kind of community activism, pride in self and pulling folks up, in my community. So we resonated on so many core values that a conversation really about me supporting him never, ever even entered the picture. And Tracey is a man. So there really wasn't anything. He was in a stat, once I got his name, he didn't give it to me the first couple times. But I was about to say, brother, I need to know who you are.
Once you Google me,
Yeah. I got to Google this brother.
Once you Google him, he is not anyone that I need to support. He definitely has had success himself.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is, I'm successful in my own right as far as the things that I do.
Okay.
And at this stage of my life, I'm never going to take care of man because I love to be taken care of. And Tracey does that very, very, very well.
Okay.
But I do well enough where if it came down to he had a certain role in our household and I had a certain role in our household, the money will flow.
Yes.
So I just don't even really allow myself to get caught up in thinking about those types of things. I think men are protectors and providers, and that's what I have. Okay. And it wouldn't matter what money he makes because he provides and he protects, and that's what I require.
Wow, that's interesting. Because since I've done the relaunch of this podcast, I have interviewed quite a few teams, husband and wife teams, and I'm always interested in the dynamics that they bring to the table in order for it to work. And I just heard your wife talk about core values, And that seems to be a prevailing theme throughout all of my conversations thus far, prevailing values. She stays in her lane, I stay in my lane, and we come together as husband and wife, and then sometimes we come together as business partners, but we don't let those roles and titles overlap or bump into each other.
That's a good point.
You know, and so I think that's so wonderful. But what made you want to do the Phax? What made you want to do that? Did you see that there were folks out here who were needing to understand more about the online dating process, or that was something that you just wanted to birth to another level?
You know, so it's interesting, the journey to where we're at now, because I had actually, Tracey, you know, him being the ever entrepreneur, always encouraging me to look at entrepreneurship. So I started with a podcast.
Okay.
I have a podcast called The Leader and Lover. And it really, I want to empower Black women specifically.
Yes.
You know, Black women get a bad rap around us being bitter, around us not being good girlfriends, around us not having healthy relationships. And I have a lot of friends that really debunk that myth. And I, quite frankly, am just tired of hearing that. So I created a space where I'm showcasing women who have careers and families and friends and are loving their husbands and, you know, are really just living these really full lives. So that started February of last year.
Okay.
And that's where it started. And then we just kept evolving. So we got press in Philly Mad for our engagement photos. And then the New York Times covered our wedding, and then O Magazine reached out to us and covered our love story, and then Essence really did a big article for our wedding. So it just felt like, you know, I always told Tracey I love him so much because he walks in his purpose, and I had been feeling like I'd been trying to find my purpose, and it seemed like that was it, because people just started coming to me and asking, how did you meet your husband? How did you attract your husband? You know, I was 50 when I met Tracey.
Yes.
You know, Black women after about 35, they tell you to forget it, you know, like that. I mean, it's really challenging, or at least that's what media would like to tell us. And so I think there was so many women that we inspired. I think there were so many women that have really related, because I think we're relatable.
Yes.
And I think that I just started getting more and more people reaching out. Can you help me with my online profile? Can you help me? What did you do? How did you date? Those types of things. And so based on that, we just started going online and talking about it.
Wow.
And one led to another, and then we built a little infrastructure, and now I have a whole coaching program that really helps with mindset shift and femininity, because there's so many women that operate in their masculinity, because we are out here slaying the dragon and going to school, doing all these things that we lean so far into that we're not soft, and we're not inviting men in, and we're not allowing them to love us properly. So based on my own process of evolution, which was through coaching and courses around coaching others and things like that, I've been able to, and how to communicate with people. I manage people. I'm in a very masculine environment, so I manage a lot of men. I know how to influence them to do what I need them to do through how I compassionately communicate with them. So I put together a whole coaching program to help women, because what I find is, they may want me to help them with their dating profile, but when we start really talking about it and get to the nitty gritty, there's so much more that they need support on in that journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's how it started. And the beauty is, I have a willing participant who shows up wherever I need him to show up, whether it's photo shoots or lives or whatever, and supports that. And I think the beauty of that is that you get that male perspective.
Yes.
You know, you get that man saying, "Yep, this is why you need to do this," or "This is what men are thinking," and things like that. So usually people have a platform where it's a woman talking or a man talking, whereas us, we have a newly married, couple, not someone who's been married a long time, someone who's recently navigated the dating scene online during COVID, and we're continuing to be in a pandemic. So all of those different components, I'm over 50, I'm Black executive, my husband's an entrepreneur with a past that in the past I would not have probably aligned with, and said, I'm a data man that's been in prison, I mean, all of these that women have done to create hurdles to love, and so I think all those elements of our story really make us experts in how to help others find love.
This is all fantastic. Tracey, did you want to say something?
She's the expert.
Oh, man. But you sound like the expert, too, because you were smart enough to pursue her, huh? So you are the expert, too, now, in your own right.
I love Kevin.
But my question is, what's the number one reason, or what was the number one thought that we as black men have to debunk in terms of choosing the African-American woman, the sister? What was the number one reason you think that we as black men have to debunk?
When you said have to debunk, you think just a hurdle you have to get over?
Yeah. Because a lot of times when I'm sitting with my fellas, they say that black women are hard to love because of all the trauma they've gone through.
We're angry and bitter.
Yeah.
And can't be loved.
Yes.
And I think that is some people's experiences. But one by one, I'm trying to work to build down those walls or break down those walls, because I tell women all the time, there are black men out there that want healthy, happy, flourishing relationships.
Yes.
We just have to be inviting them in.
Yes, I like that. And so as you build down or break down these walls, you find that there's opportunities for conversation. Now, so for Tracey, let me ask this question, Tracey. A year from now, we're looking at the crystal ball. What opportunities are you pursuing on your personal business side through the entrepreneurial and contracting side?
Well, there's so many things, Kev. I'm kind of slowing up out of the contracting business. I kind of semi-retired in 2022. Still doing the snow removal. I can't seem to get at lucrative snow removal up though. But
yes.
I'm slowing down in that area. I've been picking up a lot in real estate. We've been flipping houses. So we're still doing real estate. And now we're getting into, the teaching part. We've been, contract with juvenile justice. So we've been teaching with juvenile justice, teaching our young men in the prison system here in New Jersey, entrepreneurship and how they can come out here and change the product. So,
awesome.
So many things that we're doing, and what we're doing with me and my wife. I really, really believe in her.
Okay.
I believe in her purpose in this space of trying to connect black women to the love of their lives. So, supporting her in this space right now, I just, the sky's the limit. Next year, I don't even know what I'll be doing next month. Yeah,
yeah, I know you do. But
about the thing, the parachute as we going down. And,
yeah. And then Cheri, for you, same question. A year from now, where does the crystal ball look for you? Where are you?
I wish I could predict that. The beauty of the work that I do is I'm very passionate about it. I'm in the medical device industry for black women. That I'm a unicorn.
Okay.
I'm in orthopedics, and so I run, the East Coast for my company.
Yes.
And I'm an example to and I'm like a mentor to a lot of other black women, black people, period, to get into this industry. And so I love that, and I take that serious. And because of that, I'm not always the quick entrepreneur to just jump and say, hey, I'm leaving corporate, because not so much because it's the security of corporate. It's just what I'm able to do in my space, be at the table, advocating for, we're the least cared for in healthcare as far as black women are concerned. And I'm always helping them shift the narrative. They see a black woman, those perceptions that they have of who we are, I'm constantly, I'm charging against those. So there's a certain responsibility that I believe I have, but I'm also really feeling the passion around the work that I'm doing with the clients that I have, the women on this, dating Phax platform. And so, I think I'm going to try to be on both tracks for as long as I can, as long as I can give both of them full attention.
Yes.
But eventually my husband is not one that wants to have his wife working forever. So we may be on somebody's island or in somebody's country, a little further down.
And as long as you can get internet connection, you're good.
I'm good.
You're good. Yeah. So, but Tracey, so as we look at working with our youth, what are some other parameters that we can put forth for our youth to be engaged in? What are some other activities that we can be exposing our young folks to?
And then I can take example of what they're what they're doing at juvenile justice and use this in the society, period, because I think it's so important. So what they've done at the beginning of the pandemic, they said, you know what, we're locked in, literally locked in.
Yes.
What can we offer our young men and young women that can enhance their academic, enhance their talent, their creative talent. So they started offering all these consortium of services: entrepreneurship, yoga, rap, meditation, coding, all these services. They said, oh, you know what? Let's give these to the juveniles. So that same idea and that same thing that we're doing in juvenile justice, we need to be doing in society, period. Giving
them more opportunities, more options.
All our kids are not going to college. All our kids don't want to go to college.
Yes.
We have kids that want to be entrepreneurs. We have talented kids that want to be artists. We have to give our kids the opportunity to be anything that they want to be, and not just continually tell kids you need to go to college to be successful.
Now, what, Tracey? What's the message that you would like to share with the parents that are possibly supporting potential entrepreneurs? What would you like to share with the parents?
So that's man, you did this for 20 years. And it's so beautiful, Kev. I can run off Katrina. I can run off names.
Yes.
Of parents that were so involved.
Yes.
His entrepreneurial journey. Whereas that these parents were at every market fair. They were, sitting in on the business plan presentation. So, that parental support goes a long way. And you can, Kev, you can name kids right now who are doing well, who have parent support behind them 100%.
So, but how do we encourage more perennial support, though?
I think we have to show them the example. I just really believe the power of example is a powerful, powerful tool.
Okay.
We go back and we get the mothers and the students that we had 15, 20 years ago and show them how those students and those parents are thriving now. So I think the power of example is a powerful tool that we just don't use as much as we have to, because I talk about this all the time. I grew up in the 70s.
Yes.
I know what a black business owner looks like. I used to see them every day.
Yes.
I used to work for a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So having that example instills in me the fact that I know I can do this. I know I can do this because I've seen this.
Yes.
Are not seeing this now. So we have to give them that image. So I think the power of example is a powerful tool.
Now, the city of Trenton, we're looking at that crystal ball again, Tracey. The city of Trenton, what do we need to do to encourage our young folks to think more entrepreneurially?
In the city of Trenton,
yes,
I think like I said, giving them those options.
Okay.
Be able to think on an entrepreneurial plane, you have to be able to think outside your environment.
Got you.
That's so important. If your environment is all you see is your block, is all you see is your West Ward, East Ward, you're never going to know that a whole world exists out there. So I think showing our kids, me and my wife had this conversation when we traveled to Africa last year for our honeymoon.
Yes. Of
how we just get kids from here to there.
Yes.
Because we really believe that once they learn their history, once they learn that we created everything, we did it all. So I think once they learn that, once they know their history, they begin to flourish. So I think having the opportunity to show kids in Trenton that it's a whole new world outside of this 7.5 square mile area is where we begin to open up their minds also.
Now, one other question, Tracey. What would be the message or what would be the narrative that you would like to create, not just for Trenton leadership, but leadership across the country that is trying to support a Black and brown community? What leadership, what message would you like to share with them?
Say that again, Kev? You broke up a little bit.
Yeah, I said, what message would you like to share, or what's the narrative you would like to create for leadership across the country in terms of supporting Black and brown folk?
Wow. I've always believed, Kev, that real leadership,
yes,
is servant leadership.
Okay.
Meaning that if you're not willing to serve the people, you cannot lead the people.
Awesome.
So if you're be a leader, whether you're in Trenton or whether you're in any community, supporting your people, supporting economic development, supporting entrepreneurial skills, supporting education, whatever it is. I think that's so important. So I think, you have to be able to serve. You have to serve in order to lead. And
Excellent.
once we start having our leaders serve,
Yes.
I think we'll be
awesome. Now, Cheri, let me bring you back in. Are you still with us, Cheri?
I am.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
yes.
I have
Okay.
a little bit of a comment on that last question
No,
because I do.
Please jump in, please.
Yeah, I think too, and because I'm in our employee resource groups at work, and we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, not treating Black and Brown communities as the same. What Black issues are very different than what Brown issues are, and not all Brown issues are the same depending on where you are culturally originate.
Wow,
So
I like
being
that.
super sensitive to the specifics around Black communities that have lived in this country under the, strain and trauma and whatnot, and then Brown communities who have migrated here, and depending on where they migrated from, they have, different issues, and just being mindful and thinking around what equity looks like with those different nuances.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's all, man. That's wow. I love it. I love it. And so that becomes a narrative that we have to enforce and have more of that conversation going on. Thank you. Wow. I love it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna ask you the same question I was asking Tracey. Now that you've seen Tracey in his element, what narrative can we put before parents to encourage our students to think more entrepreneurially?
I think that being open, I think a lot of times we have gotten conditioned to get that good job, whatever that good job is.
Yes.
And or go to college. And I am a total advocate for education.
Yes.
However, I recognize that A, people learn different, B, people have different passions. And I think that we should give our children the autonomy and the flexibility to be able to pursue passion projects and things that can fill a need.
Yes.
And more importantly, give them what feels good. So we just historically haven't been in a financial position to take those chances and to take those risks. But the more we can be financially sustainable or stable rather, then we can really help and support our children in the things that they choose to do. Because there's nothing more disheartening than being on a place, I was going to say being on a plantation, being in an environment that you're not thriving and enjoying.
Yes. Yes. Wow. This is good. So with the time that we have left, and man, it's amazing how you start a conversation, you look down, 37 minutes have gone. 37 minutes. So we're going to try to wrap this up, but I certainly would love to invite you back. But Tracey, with the time that we have left, are there any final words that you would want potential entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs to know?
What was the last one, Kev?
Are there any words of encouragement, anything that you would want a potential entrepreneur to know?
I think, we have, many conversations in class about this right here that,
Yes.
success, preparation, there's always a process before the product. And far too often we want the product, but we don't want the process.
Yes.
And I think we really, really, if we really want to be successful, it's hard work, Kev. You know it's hard.
Oh, yes.
It's hard work. It's up 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yes.
It's going to bed at 8 o'clock at night. It's hard work until you achieve your goals, until you achieve the things that you set out to achieve. And it's not over until you achieve that.
Yes.
And a lot of folks, we have this 30-day, this 60-day plan. If it don't work in the first 30 days, we often throw it into the garbage can and off to something else.
Yeah.
I think, if I can leave, people with one thing, just know that success is hard. You have to work for it.
Yes.
You really have to work. But I think it's also attainable if you want it bad enough.
Now, I'm not supposed to ask this, but I am going to ask this. So Now, when you started the construction business and you moved into real estate and flipping houses, was that by your own design? Did you take a class? Because that can be another episode, so we don't have to get too deep. But you had mentioned that, so I just want us to kind of put a cap on that.
So what we did last year, we created a real estate course, as you know, of course, teaching entrepreneurship, but also we created a real estate course last year. So we talk about more, Kev, from my 30 years as a contractor, how contractors can kill a real estate deal.
Yes.
So if you're out there flipping houses, buying houses, selling houses, renovating houses, your contractor could be your greatest liability.
Yes.
And in our real estate course, we call it real estate Phax. We run folks through the real estate journey and how to avoid some of those pitfalls that I've seen over the past 30 years.
Okay.
So, once again, just, seeing those opportunities, because I've got 30 years experience now in the business, how do I begin to teach folks how to get into the real estate business and thrive? So, once again, Kev, as an entrepreneur, you just look at opportunities and you say, I can do this with that. I can take this right here and take it to another level. And also one of the beauties of it, that you can help somebody along the way.
Yes, absolutely. So with the time that we have left, we're going to allow the Queen to give her final thoughts and close us out. Anything that you want your audience to know about marriage, supporting an entrepreneur, and whatever you think we should know.
So, that's a good one about marriage. You know what? I tell people this all the time, and this is at the root of my desire to coach women.
Yes.
I want a woman to have, and every person really, man or woman, but especially Black people, I think the better relationships we can have, the better communities we can have. And so I want us all to have an amazing, beautiful love that we desire and that we deserve. And I encourage everyone to do the work and the things that they need to do to open themselves up to attract and find and cultivate that love. I was fabulously living a single life, and I hear women, I don't need a man, or, I don't need drama, and I don't need this and all that. And my life was beautiful. I make good money. I have a great job. I travel the world. I have great friends. And marrying Tracey was the best thing I could have done.
Wow.
And our
That's all right.
union elevated my life to another level.
Wow.
And I really, really, really want people in general, but especially my sisters. If being single was that good, I would tell you to stay single, and I would. But being married to the right man, because that's the key. All that marriage is hard and drama and all that, that's because you just were with the wrong man.
Yes.
And you know what? That wrong man didn't even have to be a bad man.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been a good man. But if you're not aligned in your values, then that's just not the right man for you. So finding and attracting the right man and having the right relationship, because it takes your life from, one amazing point to a whole other stratosphere. So if anyone is interested in having a conversation about what it takes to make that happen, please reach out to me at www.justthephax.com.
Wow. I was going to end on that note, but I want you to end on this other note when I share this. So having the right alignment and being equally yoked, is that the same thing?
It is.
Okay.
And what people don't recognize is there's such minimal things that can show lack of alignment.
Yes.
Again, two great people could be great individuals, but just not great together.
Yes.
And it can be something as simple as, and this one always resonates with me, someone who wants to date Tracey, and you see how Tracey shows up in dresses.
Yes.
But you don't have that same importance about your personal appearance.
Yes.
There's an alignment lacking there. And what that can potentially show is, it seems very surface. It seems non-substantive, because you think like, I want honesty and I want this and I want that. But how that starts to weigh on a person is, Tracey could be like, you wearing that today? Or, hey, let me buy you this. And you may not want to wear that, but you like him. And so you're trying to accommodate him.
Yes.
Over time, it can maybe tear against who you are, because you're not showing up the way you want to, because you don't care about how you look when you go out.
Wow.
But you can't be with this man and not care about how you look when you go out.
Wow.
So two people, but something as simple as that and not being in alignment there can make you hate each other after a while.
Wow, man. I'm definitely going to bring you guys back on, man. We're going to have to make this a series. I'm so excited. So one more time, Tracey, one more time, Cheri, give them your individual contact information so if folks want to get in touch with you, they can.
Yeah, so we actually share our IG page. So it's Just Phax, so JUSTPHAX. That's on Instagram.
Yes.
And then you find us both under our name, Cheri Syphax, Tracey Syphax. We have our dating site, which is www.justthephax.com. And Tracey's has his site that is going under a refresh. It's amazing. And that's TraceySyphax.com.
Wow. You guys were fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of the Entrepreneurial Enclave. Thank you for just coming on board and just sharing so much insight, man. I love you guys. Thank you. We need to do this at a larger scale, and we'll talk sometime about that. But you guys are wonderful. Wonderful.
And we just want to let you know, and we are just always honored when someone will share their platform with us.
Yes.
We value and appreciate that. We don't take that lightly. So we do thank you too.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, Tracey knows we go a long way back, and it was time for us to come full circle. And with a queen such as you, I said, Tracey, we got to get you guys on the show. So I want to wish you guys nothing but blessings and continued success.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You as well. You guys be well. We'll talk to you then.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That concludes another episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. We look forward to you joining us for our next one. Until next time.